Step into any Lion's Corner house on a Tuesday in 1955, and you would find them stacked neatly behind glass. Triangles of white bread, crusts trimmed sharp, their fillings written in chalk on a board above the counter. Potted meat, bloater paste, tongue with mustard, sardine and tomato. These were the sandwiches that fed Britain on its lunch break, from station buffets and factory canteens to seaside tea rooms and pier-end kiosks. A whole rationed generation lived on them. Most have vanished entirely now, swept away when supermarkets, sliced bread, and refrigerated chill cabinets rewrote what a sandwich was meant to be. Some you could not buy today if you tried. We are counting down the number 25 British lunch counter sandwiches from the 1950s that disappeared forever. Let's begin at number 25. Number 25, the tomato sandwich was the cheapest entry on every cafe board in the country, and the one that proved a sandwich did not need meat to feel like a proper lunch. Counter staff sliced firm beef tomatoes thin onto buttered white bread, scattered them with salt and a crack of pepper, and pressed the top slice down so the juice soaked into the crumb. By the time it reached the customer, the bread had turned faintly pink at the center, the butter melting into the flesh below. In the summer of 1953, a tomato sandwich at an ABC tea room cost 4p, the same as a cup of tea, and shopgirls bought them by the thousand on their half-hour break. The trick lay in the salt. Too little, and the filling tasted of nothing. Too much, and the bread turned to mush before the last bite. Today, the warm, salted tomato sandwich has all but vanished, replaced by chilled triangles where the bread never meets a ripe summer fruit. Number 24. The cucumber sandwich carried itself with more ceremony than its ingredients deserved. A staple of hotel lounges, garden parties, and the back rooms of Lion's Corner houses, it was the sandwich of leisure and decorum, made with cucumber sliced so thin you could read the newspaper through it. Counter staff salted the slices first, laid them on a clean tea towel for 10 minutes to draw out the water, then pressed them between buttered slices of unsweetened white bread with the crusts cut off. The result was clean, cool, and faintly grassy, the sort of thing your aunt ordered at Fortnum's on her annual trip up from Surrey. Wedding receptions in the early 50s served them by the platter. Vicarage fetes piled them onto doilies. Yet the cucumber sandwich relied on white bread soft enough to compress and a butcher's eye for slicing. Sliced supermarket loaves and watery hothouse cucumbers killed it stone dead by the mid-80s. Number 23. The egg and cress sandwich was the lunch counter classic that women's magazines held up as proof a proper sandwich could be made for 5p. Counter staff hard-boiled eggs until the yolks turned crumbly, mashed them with butter and a splash of salad cream, then folded in handfuls of mustard cress grown on a tray of damp blotting paper on the kitchen sill. The cress, peppery and bright green, cut through the richness of the egg and gave each bite a faint snap. In 1954, mustard cress was so common that Boots sold the seeds in penny packets, and most schools grew it in classroom windows for the children to take home. Egg and cress appeared on every railway platform, every funeral spread, every women's institute bring and buy. The shop-bought versions today rely on cheap mayonnaise and bagged salad leaves, and they have lost the sharp green bite that defined the original. Number 22. The Watercress sandwich carried the taste of the chalk streams of Hampshire and the market gardens of the Lee Valley straight to the lunch counter. Counter staff bought watercress by the bunch at Covent Garden for 2p, trimmed off the woody stems, and packed the dark green leaves into buttered brown bread with nothing more than a twist of black pepper. The cress had a pungent mustard heat that hit the back of the throat and a peppery aftertaste that lingered. In 1956, the watercress beds of Alresford and Ewelme supplied nearly every London tea room with trains specifically scheduled to run the cress to Waterloo before dawn. Doctors recommended it for iron deficiency, and the Ministry of Food praised its vitamin content in wartime pamphlets. Yet watercress is fragile, with a shelf life of 3 days at best, and the supermarket cold chain could not keep it crisp. Bagged rocket replaced it on most menus by the 90s. Number 21. The banana sandwich was the British child's idea of a treat, born in the years immediately after the war, when bananas returned to greengrocers' shelves after a long absence. Mothers sliced the fruit lengthways onto buttered mother's pride, sometimes mashing it with a fork and a sprinkle of sugar, and pressed the slice down so the banana stuck. By 1957, banana sandwiches appeared in school-packed lunches across the country, wrapped in grease-proof paper that turned faintly brown by midday. The fruit oxidized quickly, the bread went soggy at the center, and yet children loved them with a devotion that bordered on the religious. Older generations remembered the rationing years when a banana was a mythical thing, mentioned in songs but never seen, and the sandwich became a small celebration of post-war abundance. Today, the banana sandwich survives only in childhood memory, considered too humble and too soggy for any modern cafe board. Number 20. The sugar sandwich, known across the north as the sugar butty, sat at the very bottom of the social ladder and yet appeared in millions of British packed lunches through the 1950s. Mothers spread white bread thick with margarine, sprinkled granulated sugar across the surface until it formed a crunchy crust, then folded the slice in half. That was lunch. By 1955, the National Food Survey recorded that working-class households used sugar at a rate of nearly £1 per person per week, and a fair share of it went into sandwiches when nothing else was to hand. Children ate them on the way to school, the sugar grinding faintly between their teeth, the margarine cold from the larder. Dentists despaired. Mothers shrugged. The sugar butty was honest fuel for a child who needed calories more than nutrition. Health campaigns finished it off in the 1970s, and rightly so, but a whole generation grew up knowing the taste. Number 19. The condensed milk sandwich was the lunch counter's answer to a proper pudding when there was no time for puddings. Counter staff spooned thick, gluey condensed milk straight from the carnation tin onto buttered white bread, sometimes adding a layer of strawberry jam, sometimes nothing at all. The condensed milk set into the crumb almost on contact, turning the sandwich into something between a dessert and an act of defiance against rationing memory. In 1953, a tin of carnation cost 9p and lasted a fortnight in the larder if the children did not find it first. Fairground stalls sold condensed milk sandwiches to day trippers at Blackpool and Margate, and dock workers' wives packed them into lunch tins for shifts that started before dawn. The combination of fat, sugar, and pure dairy was almost unbearably rich. Today, the condensed milk sandwich is unthinkable, a relic of an era when sweetness itself felt like luxury. Number 18. The jam butty was the cornerstone of British packed lunches, the sandwich that fed millions of school children when there was nothing else to fill a tin. Mothers spread white bread thick with margarine, smeared it with whatever jam was open on the shelf, usually strawberry, plum, or the cheap mixed fruit Robinsons sold in glass jars for 1 shilling and 3, and folded the slice over. By the time the child reached the school gate, the jam had bled into the bread, turning the center a vivid pink. Northern playgrounds rang with the song, "I like a nice cup of tea with me dinner, and a nice jam butty for me tea." Diaries from the era record that jam sandwiches were sometimes the only thing in a working-class child's lunchbox, eaten standing up in the cold of the schoolyard. Today, the jam sandwich survives mostly in nostalgic memory, replaced by yogurts, crisps, and the chilled meal deal. Number 17. The lemon curd sandwich was the gentler, more genteel cousin of the jam butty, served on doilies at women's institute meetings and pressed into the picnic hampers of vicarage outings. Counterstaff at tea rooms spread tangy yellow Robertson's lemon curd thick on buttered white bread, the curd's sharpness cutting through the cream that often accompanied it. In 1954, a jar of Robertson's lemon curd cost 1 shilling and was found in nearly every pantry, the gollywog label still cheerfully unaware of the controversy that would later destroy it. The lemon curd sandwich appeared at every church fete, every birthday tea, every Sunday school anniversary. Children ate them after running races on the green, the curd staining their fingers yellow. The combination of butter and curd had a richness that no modern fruit spread can match. Lemon curd survives in jars on supermarket shelves, but the sandwich itself has slipped almost entirely out of memory. Number 16. The Marmite sandwich divided British lunch counters as sharply as it has divided the nation ever since the jar first appeared in 1902. Counterstaff scraped a thin layer of the dark, salty yeast extract onto thickly buttered white bread, sometimes adding a slice of cucumber for the brave, and wrapped the whole thing in grease-proof paper. The salt content was ferocious, and a Marmite sandwich on a hot day demanded a glass of water alongside it. By 1955, schools across Britain served Marmite sandwiches as a free protein supplement to underweight children, and the Ministry of Food praised the spread's B vitamins in wartime nutrition pamphlets. The trick was always restraint. Too much Marmite and the sandwich turned inedible. Too little, and it tasted only of butter. The Marmite sandwich survives in lunchboxes today, but the proper cafe version, on doorstep white bread with proper salted butter, has largely vanished. Number 15. The Bovril sandwich offered the savory depth of beef extract with none of the price of actual meat, and it carried generations of British children through the lean years. Counterstaff stirred a teaspoon of dark, sticky Bovril into a knob of softened butter, spread the mixture onto thick slices of white bread, and pressed them together with a slice of cold roast beef when funds allowed. The result was a sandwich that tasted of Sunday lunch on a Tuesday afternoon. Bovril, invented in 1886 to feed Napoleon III's army, sat in nearly every British pantry through the 50s, its label promising strength and warmth. Children ate Bovril sandwiches at football matches. The jars passed between fathers and sons on cold terraces. By the 80s, the rise of fresh deli meats and changing tastes pushed Bovril out of the sandwich category entirely, leaving it as a hot drink for shivering matchgoers and almost nothing more. Number 14. The bread and dripping sandwich was the bluntest expression of British thrift, a meal made from the cold, congealed fat skimmed off Sunday's joint and saved through the week in a ceramic pot on the warming plate. Mothers spread the savory beef dripping thick on doorstep slices of white bread, scattered the surface with salt, and sometimes added a layer of brown jelly scraped from the bottom of the pot, the most prized part of all. In 1952, dripping sandwiches accounted for a substantial share of working-class lunches in the industrial North, with the National Food Survey recording dripping consumption at over 4 ounces per person per week. Fathers carried them in their lunch tins to the foundry, the docks, the mine. The British Heart Foundation campaigns of the 70s destroyed the dripping sandwich almost overnight, but recent studies have rehabilitated saturated fat, and a small revival is stirring in northern cafes. Number 13. The cheese and pickle sandwich anchored the British lunch counter through the entire post-war period, its combination of mature cheddar and dark, sweet-sharp Branston pickle, a partnership that felt almost preordained. Counterstaff sliced cheddar thick from a wheel under a glass dome, layered it onto buttered white bread, and spooned over generous helpings of Branston, the diced vegetables glistening in their treacle-dark sauce. Cross and Blackwell launched Branston pickle in 1922, and by 1955, a jar sat in nearly every British pantry. Pubs served cheese and pickle as the standard ploughman's component, railway buffets stacked them by the dozen, and office workers ate them at their desks across the country. The sandwich still exists today in supermarket meal deals, but the version made with proper farmhouse cheddar, real butter, and a fresh jar of pickle on bread thick enough to feel substantial has largely disappeared from everyday tables. Number 12. The mock crab sandwich was the lunch counter's ingenious answer to a luxury that most British families could not afford. Counter staff grated tangy cheddar, mashed it with butter, a spoonful of salad cream, a dash of vinegar, and enough tomato to turn the mixture a pale pink, then spread it onto white bread. The result tasted nothing like crab, but the color and texture suggested seafood convincingly enough to fool the eye. Mock crab appeared on the menus of seat-seated boarding houses through the 50s, where it allowed landladies to advertise crab sandwiches without paying chroma prices. Women's magazines printed the recipe under titles like Holiday Sandwich and Surprise Filling, and W. Cookbooks recorded dozens of variations. By the 70s, frozen crab sticks made the deception unnecessary, and mock crab vanished from menus almost entirely. Today it survives only in faded recipe cards and the memories of those who ate it without ever once questioning the name. Number 11. The salad cream and grated cheese sandwich offered tangy creaminess at a fraction of the cost of mayonnaise, which most British shops did not yet stock in the 50s. Counter staff grated mild cheddar into a bowl, stirred in 2 generous tablespoons of Heinz salad cream, sometimes adding chopped spring onion or a dash of brown sauce, and spread the mixture on buttered white bread. The vinegar in the salad cream cut through the cheese and gave the filling a sharp, almost mustardy edge. A bottle of Heinz salad cream cost 1 shilling and 3 pence in 1955, and it appeared on nearly every British table used for sandwiches, salads, and even cake batter. The combination of grated cheese and salad cream defined office lunches and Saturday afternoon teas across the country. Mayonnaise replaced salad cream as the British emulsion of choice in the 80s, and this particular sandwich quietly disappeared from menus along with it. Number 10. The sardine and tomato sandwich was the lunch counter's perfect marriage of tinned protein and fresh acidity, a sandwich that managed to feel both wholesome and indulgent. Counter staff drained the oil from a tin of John West sardines, mashed the silver-skinned fish with a fork until the bones disappeared, mixed in a spoonful of tomato ketchup or fresh tomato pulp, and spread the rust-colored paste onto buttered brown bread. The fishy richness was tempered by the tomato's sweetness, and a squeeze of lemon brightened the whole thing. In 1954, a tin of sardines cost 9 pence and fed 2 people generously. Doctors recommended sardines for their omega oils long before anyone called them omega oils. The sandwich appeared on station buffets, in lunch tins, at funerals, and on the menus of nearly every British greasy spoon. The rise of refrigerated chicken and tuna mayonnaise in the 80s pushed sardines off most menus, leaving the sandwich a curiosity. Number 9. The Shipham's salmon paste sandwich was a particular kind of mid-century British indulgence, the small glass jar with its blue and gold label sitting in cupboards from Penzance to Inverness. Counter staff scraped the pink, salmon-flavored paste onto buttered white bread, sometimes adding a slice of cucumber for crunch, and trimmed off the crusts for the better tea rooms. Shipham's of Chichester had been making fish and meat pastes since 1750. And by 1955, the company sold over 20 million jars a year. The taste was concentrated, slightly oily, faintly sweet from the curing process, and unmistakably distinct from any actual piece of salmon. Funeral teas across Britain depended on Shipham's. Cricket pavilions stacked the jars by the dozen. Children ate them on coach trips to the seaside. Yet refrigerated fresh salmon, deli counters, and changing notions of what fish should taste like quietly killed the paste sandwich. The jars still exist, but the sandwich has gone. Number 8. The bloater paste sandwich carried the smoky, salty taste of the East Anglian coast straight to lunch counters hundreds of miles inland. Bloaters were whole herring lightly salted and cold smoked, their flesh strong and oily, their flavor somewhere between kipper and anchovy. Counterstaff spread the dark gray paste onto buttered brown bread, sometimes adding a slice of hard-boiled egg, and pressed the slices together with a firm hand. In 1953, Yarmouth bloater paste was sold in small jars across the country, the smoking sheds of the Norfolk coast working at full capacity to keep up with demand. The taste was uncompromising. Either you grew up with it or you did not, and those who did remembered it with the same fierce loyalty they reserved for jellied eels and peas pudding. As the British herring fleet collapsed through the 70s and the 80s, the bloater itself became scarce, and the paste disappeared from shelves almost entirely. Today it exists only in specialist delis and oral memory. Number 7. The anchovy paste sandwich, made with patum piperium, or gentleman's relish, sat at the more refined end of the British lunch counter, the sort of sandwich an army officer or a country solicitor might order with his pot of Earl Grey. Counterstaff scraped a thin layer of the dark, salty anchovy paste onto fingers of buttered hot toast, sometimes adding a sprinkle of cayenne, and served them on bone china in the tea rooms of better hotels. Patum piperium was invented in 1828 by an Englishman named Osborne, and by 1955, its little white pot with the blue label was a fixture in the pantries of the upper middle class. The taste was intensely savory, almost punishing in its concentration. Officers' messes across the empire kept it on the breakfast table. Today, the pot still exists, sold in Fortnum and Mason and a handful of delicatessens. But the anchovy paste sandwich as a working item on any lunch menu has effectively vanished. Number 6. The spam sandwich was the post-war British answer to a meat shortage that lingered well beyond the end of rationing in 1954, and it became so common that an entire generation associated lunch with the smell of opening a tin. Counterstaff sliced the pink rectangular block of Hormel's spiced pork and ham thick. They fried the slices in dripping until the edges crisped and caramelized, then laid them onto buttered white bread with a smear of English mustard and a pickled onion on the side. By 1955, spam imports into Britain ran into the millions of tins per year. The Americans had shipped it across in vast quantities during the war, and they never quite stopped. The sandwich appeared in school lunches, factory canteens, and seaside cafes. Monty Python's famous sketch in 1970 sealed spam's reputation as a national joke, and the rise of fresh ham in supermarket chill cabinets gradually displaced it from serious sandwich menus. Number 5. The corned beef sandwich was the workhorse of the British lunch counter, a sandwich that combined cheap protein, salty satisfaction, and the faint romance of foreign shores. Counterstaff sliced thick pink slabs from a tin of Frey bentos shipped from Uruguay, layered them onto buttered white bread with a generous spread of Branston pickle or English mustard, and pressed the slices together so the meat compacted into the crumb. In 1955, Britain imported nearly 200,000 tons of corned beef a year, the supply chain stretching from Argentine and Uruguayan ranches to dockside warehouses in Liverpool and London. A tin cost 1 shilling and 9 and fed a family of 4. The corned beef sandwich appeared in lunch tins across the country, on station buffets, at funerals, and in the kit bags of national service conscripts. Fresh deli meats replaced corned beef in the 1980s, and the proper tinned meat sandwich has all but disappeared from British counters. Number 4. The Brawn sandwich tested both the customer's nerve and the butcher's skill, and it earned its place on this list as one of the strangest things a British lunch counter ever served. Brawn was made from the boiled head of a pig, the meat picked clean from the bone, shredded, and set in its own jelly. Counter staff sliced the wobbling loaf thick, laid it onto buttered white bread with a spoonful of piccalilli, and wrapped the sandwich in grease-proof paper. The taste was rich, porky, faintly herbal from the simmering, and absolutely unmistakable. By 1955, every high street butcher sold brawn by the slice for 4p an ounce, and it appeared in the lunch tins of dockers, miners, and farm labourers across the country. The sight of the jelly, trembling between two slices of bread, put off generations of children. The supermarket revolution killed brawn faster than almost any other sandwich on this list. Today, it survives in a handful of artisan butchers and almost nowhere else. Number 3. The ox tongue and mustard sandwich crowned the cold meat tradition of the British lunch counter, a sandwich that brought genuine luxury to the working class table at a fraction of the price of beef. Counter staff bought pressed tongue from the butcher in pink jelly-set blocks, sliced it thin enough to see light through, laid it onto white bread spread with butter and a smear of fierce English mustard, and trimmed the crusts off for the better tea rooms. The meat was tender, beefy, faintly sweet from the curing brine, with a texture that was both firm and yielding. In 1954, a pound of pressed tongue cost 3 shillings, considerably less than a comparable piece of cold roast beef, and it appeared at funerals, christenings, and Sunday cold suppers across Britain. The sealed plastic packs of processed cold meat that filled supermarket chill cabinets from the 1970s onward killed the tongue trade almost completely, and the sandwich vanished with it. Number 2. The peas pudding and ham stotty carried the taste of Tyneside straight to lunch counters and market stalls across the northeast, a regional sandwich so distinct that it never quite belonged anywhere else. Counter staff in Newcastle and Sunderland split a stotty cake. The stotty is a flat, round bread baked on the bottom of the oven. They spread the cut sides thick with yellow peas pudding, made from split peas boiled with a ham bone. Then they layered cold, sliced boiled ham across the top. The combination was earthy, salty, and substantial, a sandwich built for shipyard workers and miners returning from a shift. In 1955, market stalls in Newcastle sold peas pudding by the ladleful, scooped into greaseproof paper for customers to take home, and the stotty sandwich appeared on every cafe board between Berwick and Middlesbrough. National supermarket chains had no interest in regional breads or homemade pulses, and by the 90s, the peas pudding stotty had retreated to a handful of traditional bakeries. And finally, in first place, the potted meat sandwich crowned the British lunch counter as the ultimate expression of post-war thrift. Counter staff minced the trimmings of yesterday's joint with onion and pepper, packed the paste into small ceramic pots, and sealed the surface with clarified butter that turned golden as it cooled. Spread thick on buttered white bread, it appeared in lunch tins from Cornwall to Caithness, and by 1958, the National Food Survey recorded potted meats in nearly 1 in 3 British households each week. Every region guarded its own blend. Every butcher claimed his was the finest in the parish. The supermarket revolution killed it almost overnight. Sealed plastic packs of processed ham displaced the ceramic pots from kitchen windowsills, and the skills of potting, honed across generations, became suddenly redundant. Today it survives only in a handful of specialist shops, and the long memories of those who once scraped the last morsel from the pot. Which one did your nan make? Let us know in the comments below.